Board members, we're back. The boardroom's open once again. It is time for another faction focus of Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. You can see above, it is Lizardfolk time. We're going to get knee-deep in the swamps and murky mire and marshy mess that is where the lizards love to live. How's that for alliteration? Not bad, huh? I thought so myself. I'd pat myself on the back if it wouldn't hurt my shoulder so much. All right, let's get on to this review. Overview, I guess. It's really not a review. I mean, I might tell you what I think of some of the things, but it's more of an overview than anything. I'll stop rambling and start talking. The first building on the list for these lizardfolk is going to be the ziggurat. I mean, what's a lizardfolk community without some ziggurats, right? The first ziggurat says, when an army containing at least one warrior ends a march in a swamp region after resolving any exploration tokens, any warriors in that army may immediately move to an adjacent region and may explore again. So the swamp regions are here, and when they have the little exploration tokens, after that's resolved, any warriors in that army may immediately move to an adjacent region. Gives them a lot of mobility. So the warriors here are these little lizards with spears, and if we move here and we resolve that, they may move again. See. Ends a march. So that wouldn't be considered a march. It was just a move to an adjacent region. So they wouldn't be able to, I don't think they'd be able to trigger it again because this isn't considered a march after triggering it. But make sure you go somewhere that's advantageous. That's for sure, because you'd be able to take another move for free and then possibly resolve any new exploration token because it says you may explore again. So that's kind of nice. Just going to put the Lizardfolk Airship in play here for the future part of this. Level 2, their pineapple building here. Well, that's not a pineapple, some kind of shoulder pad. I always thought it looked like a pineapple, but then it's purple, so what kind of pineapples have I been eating? Level 2, warriors in your courtyard may be used to follow capital actions as they were serfs. Okay, I can see that being pretty good. So let's talk about that a little bit. Since this isn't a how to play the game video, I will explain this in just a short amount of detail. Normally when you take an action, you get a little action token and you put it on the action that you're taking. If you take an action on your turn, let's say you decide to tax on your turn, well, I could spend one of my serfs and follow your action like so and say, I want to tax also. What that card is, or that ability is saying is I can use my warriors also to follow your actions. I don't just have to use my serfs. I don't know why you'd want to do that. There's probably a building here or a hero later that will explain why, and let's keep digging. The level 3 ziggurat states, if you win a battle, your army may immediately move 1 space into a second battle and gain 1 strength, only once per round. So they kind of like to take over, right? So they move and fight, and they win the fight, and they can move again and fight and get an extra strength, but they can only do that once per round, so you can't just keep on doing that. That's the ziggurat. Now, when you build that ziggurat, you're allowed to recruit the headhunter, and his name is Razar. As prime headhunter, Razar has fought savagely to protect his hatchling brethren. The mantle of safeguarding his brood comes with heavy costs. He has fanatically memorized every choke point and obstacle of his swamp home and skillfully lures his enemies into sinkholes and the lairs of wild creatures that will deter even the most determined mercenaries. Yeah, he's pretty cool looking. At level 1, he gets +1 move for every 2 resources you discard when you march. So he can march, well, he's got only 1 movement, but for every 2 resources you pitch when he marches to a maximum of +3, he'll get +1 movement. At level 2, his strength is +2 if your total food equals 3 or less. So if he's hungry, he's a lot stronger. And level 3, you gain 1 victory point each time you march 3 spaces or more regions with the headhunter. Okay. So every time the headhunter marches 3 or more regions, you gain a victory point. So basically by pitching those resources to letting him march farther, you're going to earn more and more victory points the more the headhunter goes on the hunt. Pretty cool thematically, I like it. The second building is the Voodoo Hut. At level 1, the Voodoo Hut states that you may use food and or mana to pay the cost of any spells. That's kind of cool. The elves have a spell cost, I think, reducer or a mana enhancer, one of the two. that messes with the cost for their spells, or they can cast 2 spells at one turn or something. They have some spell stuff too. So that's kind of cool. The Lizardfolk brought that to the table. And level 2, all spells cost 1 less resource to cast for each swamp region you control. But that's maxed out at 3 resources. So if you control 3 swamps, your spells will cost 1 less to cast. Level 3, top that off here. Voodoo Hut. Each swamp region you control at the end of the game is worth 1 to a maximum of 6. So far, like most of the factions we've talked about, has some ability to get 1 extra victory point to a maximum of 6, whether it be the deserts for the lions, the forests for the elves, the mountains for the dwarves, the soul tokens on the underworld for the undead, and now the swamps for the Lizardfolk. The third building available to the Lizardfolk is the Thieves Den. Oh wait, no. We have to talk about the hero for the Voodoo Hut. That's going to be the Witch Doctor. The Witch Doctor, Izuko. For centuries, Izuko lived on the fringes of the swamp, far from his hatchling kin. In his exile, he extracted the wrought energy from the Quagmire's victims, but this foul magic has cursed him with the maddening hallucinations. With his mind slipping, he battles the nightmares locked inside his unhinged mind, but this break from sanity allows him to employ horrific and unsettling tactics on the battlefield. This Witch Doctor level 1 says as a march action, you may swap the Witch Doctor with any entire army or single unit, yours or any other players, in any region. This cannot result in a battle. Okay, I need to like map that out. Take a look at this. Now we've got this unit of goblins here just minding their own business. And the Witch Doctor is here, over in this field. As he marches, I may swap the Witch Doctor with any entire army or single unit in any region. So we have the march of 2, so we're going to first swap, and then march 2 from there. 1, 2. As an example, that's a way for him to cross all the way from here to here by using his level 1 ability. That's amazing. The level 2 says, using the level 1 ability, you may move the army 1 space after swapping positions. Wow. Okay, back to the example. He's got the army with him. It says, as a march action, you may swap the Witch Doctor with any entire army or single unit. Okay, I'm understanding. If we did that again, I swap here, and then I decide to move 1, 2. Level 2 says, I may then move the army after swapping positions. I decide to move them here, if I feel like it. And level 3, this move also may result in a battle, by the way. Level 3 states, my army gets +2 strength if using the level 2 ability results in a battle with me. So very strategic. If I made them come fight me here, I could then, have my units bolstered here for whatever purpose, and then purposely move them into this fight, gaining +2 strength for that fight. That's the Witch Doctor as a result of the Voodoo Hut. The third building on the Lizardfolk tableau is the Thieves Den. Now the Thieves Den states that level 1, you can collect 1 resource of your choice for each swamp region where you have at least 1 unit. Much like the Lionkin in a previous video, you can check that linked out above in the YouTube playback. The Lionkin got it for desert spaces. The Lizardfolk here can get it for swamp spaces. Collect 1 resource of your choice for each swamp region where you have at least 1 unit. At level 2, the Thieves Den states you may follow a research action without using a serf, as long as the action is available to use. Yeah, because normally you have to have a serf available to follow an action that an opponent takes to use it. This states you can use a research action without having to spend a serf to do it. And the level 3 Thieves Den states you may use any resources to pay for tactic cards. It can be in any combination. That's really wild. So depending on what you lack most or whatever, you can just make up for it with ore or mana or food. That's kind of really, really good. I can see the thieves out there just trying to make deals and get the resources you need at the right time. Having that Thieves Den allows you to recruit the Ranger. The Ranger is Vanige. As a hatchling, Vanige's first plunder belonged to a distressed wanderer whom he stalked and assassinated for a shiny gold medallion. It was not enough to quell his hunger. Tiring of the dull swamp and his simple-minded people compelled Vanige to plunder his helpless victims. As he stalks the shadows of Ogmore, he is never without precious treasures under his long robes. See, I knew the thieves were all about thievery. At level 1, this thief, Ranger, after moving, the Ranger and his army may start a battle with an army or unit in an adjacent region on the same continent, except when the Ranger is in the courtyard. In the courtyard, you're considered here at your capital building. So after moving, this Ranger, which is here, so he moves with this army to here. He may start a fight with these goblins here, as opposed to having to start a fight in the same region. At level 2, he gets +2 strength if using that level 1 ability. And at level 3, when you win a battle using that level 1 ability, you may move the army into that region. And they may start a second adjacent battle, but not a third. So I think it's kind of pretty clear. If this be the case, you move here, they start a fight here. If they win that fight, they can move here and start a fight here. But when that's done, they cannot second battle, but not a third during that same turn. So that ends there. But they could really go wipe out almost an entire continent. That's amazing. All right, Vanige the Thief, I really have much respect for you. All right, that takes us to the airship and the sea ship. First, the sea dock allows you to build this cute little raft here. Let's take a look. Look at that raft. I mean, isn't that just the cutest little thing? It doesn't really seem like an impending ship of doom, but it is very rafty. Level 1 raft collects 1 resource of your choice if it's in a sea region. A lot of the factions' sea ships do that at level 1. At level 2, though, immediately after collecting resources, the raft may drift up to 2 sea regions, but cannot start a battle. So, wow, that's pretty amazing. So they're in the sea region right here. After collecting resources, a level 2 can go 1, 2, like, that's pretty far. And they have to deal with an octopus, maybe, but that's still pretty far. They use the word drift so that it's not considered a sail action. I see that on the board here. Level 3, if the raft is destroyed in battle, it may be instantly recruited into your capital city at no cost. So it seems they have this endless supply of lumber and twine. If this gets destroyed, it just shows back up at your capital city at no cost, which is really cool because, again, you don't have to take the recruit action also. So it's not just saving the cost, it's saving your turn to actually get that thing back in play. Love it. Let's see, the Air Spire. This is their lizard beetle. I mean, look, all the airships aren't bangers, okay? This is a beetle and they ride it. This is the world in which we live. It's called Ogmore. The air beetle at level 1, when it attacks before the tactic cards are revealed, you get +1 strength for each food you pay to a maximum of 2 strength. So you can start to spend food to get a little bit stronger. At level 2, immediately after collecting resources, the beetle may crawl up to 2 land regions. So much like the raft here drifts to 2 sea regions, the beetle can crawl 2 land regions. And at level 3, if the beetle is destroyed in battle, gain 4 food. I don't see... It costs 2 food and 2 mana to recruit it. I don't see where that's super advantageous across the whole. As I look at the abilities on the board, I have not played the Lizardfolk, and nor have I seen them played on my table, so I'm not sure how well that particular ability would do. But on the whole, obviously you're going to want to control swamp regions. You're going to want to make use of this Ranger ability for sure to start fights in adjacent regions and be able to take over that region and start a fight in another region. I think that's going to be your game-winning combo right there. Make that happen, and you'll probably do just fine as the Lizardfolks in Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. Thanks so much for attending the live stream today. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, Time Roller, for showing up today. I really appreciate that as well. If you're catching this on the YouTube replay, be sure to give it a thumbs up And comment if you have a favorite faction. Have you played the Lizardfolk? If you've played them, have you crashed your Beetle to earn that 4 food? I'm curious how that worked out for you. Subscribe to the channel for more of this content, and as always, we'll see you at the next boardroom meeting.